Right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, team coverage preparing for a winter blast. With a shortage of plow drivers and plunging temperatures, cleanup crews expect difficult days ahead.
When those temperatures drop like that, our chemicals don't work as well.
Ameren is planning for possible power outages as charities race to keep people safe from life-threatening wind chills.
But first tonight, the Arctic air is freely flowing across the Canadian border. When it surges into our area and how much snow it will bring.
Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Brent Solomon. Mike Bush has the night off. In just a matter of hours, a blast of winter weather will hit, bringing frigid temperatures, powerful winds, and snow across the region. We have team coverage for you ahead of that winter weather. Laura Barczewski speaking with MoDOT and drivers as they prepare, and Robert Townsend has the efforts to keep people out of the dangerous cold.
But first, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with the up-to-the-minute Weather First forecast. Scott?
You know, as we're timing this out, the one thing that we think we may be underestimating on this is the depth of the cold air. We may not be cold enough with this system as it's pressing towards St. Louis. In other words, it could be even colder than what we think. Think we're okay on our snowfall forecast at this point. Take a look at what's going on across the bi-state region. Just the clouds out there. We're still holding above freezing. In fact, we've actually nudged up just a little bit in St. Louis, up to 38 degrees right now. Temperatures are still above freezing in Kansas City, but the Arctic air, Denver was 51 this afternoon, and now they are down below zero. So the Arctic air is going to flow in here pretty quickly tomorrow. Early in the morning, there might be some drizzle, a little bit of rain, but it's above freezing. Roads would mainly be damp. As that Arctic air presses in from the west, the front comes through, you'll know it. The winds pick up, they change, temperatures start going down, the snow will start to increase. That's between 9 and noon, working from west to east. Then, from our late morning, early afternoon in St. Louis, we're going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. Temperatures will drop by late in the afternoon to around 5 degrees with the potential for a flash freeze. That is our great concern for travel tomorrow. But then beyond that, your gusty winds lasting into tomorrow night as temperatures drop below zero. That will push those wind chills 20 to 35 degrees below zero by Friday morning. Winter storm warning in effect Thursday and a Thursday night, and a wind chill warning Thursday night in through noon Friday. We'll see in a few minutes. We'll get into more specifics, Ann.
You can stay up to date on the Weather First forecast. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send it right to your phone.
Tonight, MoDOT is getting ahead of the storm. They've pre-treated roads and they have all hands on deck. Our Laura Barczewski joins us live in downtown St. Louis tonight with all of the details for us. Laura.
Brent, MoDOT and other officials have two big pieces of advice for people tomorrow. Number one, if you really don't have to go anywhere, please don't. And number two, if you do, go slow.
Tomorrow's weather has the potential to be very dangerous for motorists.
Missouri Highway Patrol Corporal Dallas Thompson says two of the biggest concerns they have with this winter storm are visibility and the frigid temperatures that could be life-threatening if you're stranded.
Pack a little emergency kit. They might have some jumper cables, blankets, extra coats, gloves, water, non-perishable foods. And make sure that your cell phones are charged before you leave your houses.
MoDOT has about 34,000 miles of road to take care of in the state, and engineer Michelle Forneras says they're short about 1,000 workers still.
We do have several people that need to be trained. This is their first event with dry blowing snow that does have the opportunity to create blizzard-like conditions. So please give snowplow operators plenty of room to work and stay behind the plow. Do not pass them.
MoDOT leaders say they've had to shift some crews to areas they expect to be most impacted.
We'll be focusing our efforts on the interstates first. We'll work to get them mostly clear, and then we will work down from there to hit the other major high volume routes and work down to the other state routes.
They'll be working 12-hour shifts through the storm and will have crews in well before it starts.
We're planning on having full crews in at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we're in plenty ahead of that storm, and we're going to get another treatment down as that storm comes in.
Keep in mind, you may not see a plow on your street for a while, and that's because of those staffing shortages. That means it's going to take them longer to get to routes. It also might take your state troopers longer to get to you if you get stranded. So stay safe, stay warm, and be good out there, St. Louis. Reporting live in downtown, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Let's take a live look at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. Tonight, airlines are warning passengers of potential major changes in their flight schedule ahead of that Arctic air that will sweep into the bi-state tomorrow. The number of cancellations and delays are expected to increase as the storm moves in, and many airlines are offering travelers to reschedule free of charge. Others are offering travel credits and refunds. Some people we spoke with today said they got ahead of the weather by moving their flight up earlier.
Well, I decided to make the move today. I had an original flight for tomorrow, and yeah, I need to move fast. I know Midwest weather, and so I worked fast to make the change, and here I am.
Be sure to check your voucher policies as the winter storm makes its way through. We have all of those listed on KSTK.com in the As Seen on TV section. One local group is doing what it can to help the unhoused survive the dangerous cold that's headed our way.
That's right. New tonight, Robert Townsend followed the New Life evangelistic team working to reach people before the storm hits.
One day before a major winter storm hits the St. Louis region.
How are you? Would you like some food?
A search and rescue team from New Life Evangelistic Center spent the day hitting the streets. The two-man crew on a mission to help homeless people in the cold.
I'm seeing far more people out there than we used to see. 5
on Your Side first followed the Reverend Ray Redlick and his partner.
I think I've got some hand warmers too.
When they found a man living in this old vacant building.
We visited one man who's staying in a tent down near the river. We've visited people at various other places that are outdoors.
The outreach team gave those living outdoors a blanket, bottled water, and food.
Peanut butter jelly here for you.
Yeah. Much needed emergency supplies to survive the dangerous temperatures expected to batter the bi-state by Thursday.
We're finding new people every day that we didn't know about. I'll get a skull cap for them.
The search team then went to the heart of downtown and discovered this bundled up homeless man. He's sleeping on a mattress cushion on this freezing night.
When we find them and they don't have anywhere else to go, we'll give them bi-state bus tickets so they can get on the bus and at least ride it to keep from freezing to death.
Have you tried to get into a shelter or anything?
Yeah. Advocates try to convince the men and women to go to a warm shelter, but that's not easy.
Some may have an alcohol problem, a mental health problem. You have veterans that would rather survive out there than go through the red tape.
According to the Department of Human Affairs, as of January, there were more than 1,100 homeless people in the city. Less than 10% or 120 lived on the streets.
Thank you guys. But we're trying to do it every way we can.
And the city is also working to keep the unhoused safe during these frigid temperatures. The shelters are now open 24 hours a day. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
Tonight, the largest electric utility company in Missouri says it is ready for the incoming weather. Ameren Missouri is preparing right now to make sure its 1.2 million customers are not left in the dark. Ameren officials tell 5 on Your Side the biggest threat will be those wind gusts, which could cause tree limbs to come down. That would knock out power. Blowing snow could also make it harder to fix any outages.
Blowing snow that's going to reduce visibility, those are tough outdoor working conditions. And that will impact, number one, our ability to get to the outages because of the slippery conditions, but also because working in those elements, things take longer.
We're told if you see down power lines, please call and report it. Also make sure your contact information is up to date and accurate with the utility. That way they can reach out to you if you have an outage. The winter storm could mean power outages and into the weekend possibly. There are some warming shelters open in case you lose power. And for all that information, just text the word warming to 314-425-5355.
And of course, 5 on Your Side will stay on top of this winter storm for you. When we're not on air, you can find the latest updates on KSTK.com. You can also download the 5 on Your Side app. Well, tomorrow will be the last day for people in the Metro East to apply for FEMA assistance. If you have property damage or if you had to relocate due to this summer's flash flooding, you may be eligible for federal disaster help. 15 inches of rain within 2 days caused massive flooding through our area back in July. You can apply through the FEMA mobile app or in person at the Disaster Recovery Center. That's in the Clyde Jordan Senior Citizen Center in East St. Louis.
A St. Louis County family got a setback in court after they say their dog was euthanized without their permission. Our I-Team's been following the situation and what the family calls a big problem with paperwork. Paula Vassan found new court filings and got both sides of the case.
A woman says her dog Daisy was euthanized at a St. Louis County animal shelter without her family's permission. She says her family's constitutional rights were violated. A federal judge disagreed.
Erin Bulfin sued St. Louis County Animal Care and Control after Daisy's death in 2019. Her husband had brought the dog to the county shelter. It was part of a mandatory quarantine after Daisy bit their daughter. Bulfin says her husband signed this intake form, not knowing this box that says owner requests euthanasia was already checked. She never expected the shelter to euthanize their dog. She argues her family's state and federal Fourth Amendment right of unreasonable seizures by the government were violated. A federal judge dismissed that claim. The judge ruled that argument defies reason, common sense, and case law. A county official tells us, "We are pleased with the judge's ruling, and we will continue to do all we can to improve the animal shelter, and we have worked hard to improve it."
Erin Bulfin and her attorney tell me the case highlights how the county shelter needs to make sure pet owners know what they're actually signing. They'll be refiling their lawsuit in state court. For the I-Team, Paula Vassan, 5 on your side.
Other legal experts we talked with say the case shows the importance of reading the paperwork before you sign.
The drag show must go on. A controversial Christmas show drawing crowds and protests.
There are people who specifically want to use this as a platform for hate. You know, it's very simple. If you don't want to see a drag show, don't go.
The dark side of chocolate. What Consumer Reports discovered in the treat that could lead to long-term health problems.
Denver had a high of 51 this afternoon. It's now below zero there, and that sub-zero Arctic air is headed here over the next 12 to 18 hours. It's a weather-first storm alert for Thursday into Friday as snow falls, temperatures tumble, and winds howl.
Tonight, a controversial drag show is held at the Factory in Chesterfield, drawing both LGBTQ supporters and protesters. Pro-Christian supporters came out to rally against a drag queen Christmas, and what they say is a plan to normalize the trans and homosexual agenda.
Yeah, the show drew headlines this week after a state senator said it could technically cross a legal line in Missouri state law, which outlines or outlaws child pornography. The lawmaker asked police to shut it down. In response, organizers added an age restriction to that show, only allowing those 18 years or older to attend. The LGBTQ community says parents should be able to choose what their children can watch.
We're also saddened to see that there are people who specifically want to use this as a platform for hate. You know, it's very simple. If you don't want to see a drag show, don't go. There are so many events within the St. Louis area that are family friendly, that are available and open to anybody.
The Factory hosted that same event last year with no age minimum.
It's the holiday season, a great gift to give, of course, and receive chocolate. You can't escape it. Why would you? It's delicious. But before you put a bow on that bar, a new Consumer Reports investigation reveals a dark side to some chocolate. Here's Mike Bush.
For many of us, chocolate is more than just a tasty treat. It's a mood lifter, an energy booster, a reward after a tough day, and of course, a favorite holiday gift. And when it comes to dark chocolate, add in potential health benefits, like a rich supply of antioxidants. But it's not all good news when it comes to chocolate, according to Consumer Reports.
Our tests found concerning levels of cadmium or lead, 2 toxic heavy metals, in most of the dark chocolate bars we tested.
Consumer Reports tested 28 dark chocolate bars. The results?
For 23 of the bars, eating just an ounce a day would put an adult over a level that CR's experts and public health authorities say may be harmful.
Consistent long-term exposure to even small amounts of heavy metals can lead to a variety of health problems, including kidney damage, hypertension, and reproductive issues. The risks are greater for kids.
In young children, the metals can cause developmental problems, affect brain development, and lead to lower IQ.
In response to CR, several of the manufacturers whose chocolates had higher levels of heavy metals said that heavy metals occur naturally in soil, and they take steps to try to reduce it. So how can a chocolate lover safely satisfy her sweet tooth? CR's test found that cadmium levels tend to increase with higher cacao percentages. So, if you're craving dark chocolate, go for a 55% than, say, an 85% one. Also, if you eat dark chocolate every day, you may want to cut back to maybe just an ounce serving a couple of times a week instead.
That is so depressing. Don't just assume organic is better either. CR's test found that organic dark chocolate was just as likely to have concerning levels of heavy metals as other products.
All right, well, several St. Louis attractions are actually shutting down ahead of the winter storm. Today, the zoo announced it will be closed tomorrow, meaning the U.S. Bank Wild Lights are canceled. No decision has been made for Friday just yet. And in St. Louis County, Winter Wonderland at Tillis Park will be closed tomorrow and Friday, and that's due to the frigid temperatures. Carriage tickets will be refunded.
Well, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with the latest weather first forecast. No stress eating with chocolate like you usually do during this storm.
I am going to have my dark chocolate tomorrow.
You're going to have it anyway.
And I think a lot of other people will as well, because Mother Nature, well, Old Man Winter's pretty grumpy here as we go into tomorrow. And it does become a very serious thing about midday, and especially this time tomorrow night into Friday morning. Lambert, right now, look at the cars lined up getting into the airport, planes lined up in Terminal 2. They're coming and going and doing fairly well this evening at Lambert, but that'll change tomorrow. How big is this system? Well, look at the snowfall across the middle part of the country as we have between now and Friday evening. Heaviest is going to be to our north for sure. They've already had 2 to 4 inches tonight up in northern portions of Iowa. From Des Moines north, blizzard warnings are in effect. We're looking at 1 to 3 inches in general across the region as we head through tomorrow. It happens in about a 2 to 4 hour window. And while it's snowing and those temperatures are dropping, it's going to get slick. It's going to be sloppy. Here's your front making inroads towards northwest Missouri right now, strengthening low pressure down here farther to the south. And here's the Arctic air behind that front. Lincoln's now down to 4. North Platte's down to 9 below. It's now 9 below 0 in Denver. Temperatures like that or close to it will be here for tomorrow night. That transition is the problem. As the front comes through tomorrow, winds turn to the west. They get gusty. It's behind the front where we're going to get a band of snow. And it may be moderate to perhaps even heavy at times. That's where these darker blues are. And this is about lunchtime into the early afternoon and a little longer than that south and southeast of St. Louis, stretching towards 5 or 6 o'clock. 1 to 3 inches will do it for most of us, but it's going to be hard to measure. At this point, by 6 o'clock tomorrow night, temperatures are in the single digits, approaching 0 for some of us. Wind chills are way below 0, and the winds are gusting at that point, anywhere from 30 to 45 miles per hour. So we get a burst of snow midday tomorrow around St. Louis. Then we have the strong winds bringing the Arctic air in. That could lead to a few power outages and those life-threatening wind chills down to 4 degrees below 0 early on Friday morning. And that really is the focus here for Thursday night into Friday. Not as much about travel as it is about the wind chills and if you get stuck on the road. Frostbite on exposed skin, 15 to 30 minutes with wind chills, 25 to 35 below 0. Traveling tomorrow, want to get on the roads. While it's coming down around St. Louis, you don't want to be on the roads midday, early afternoon. Give yourself a break and save yourself some stress. If you're down 44, you don't want to go tomorrow morning. Wait till all of this moves out. Maybe tomorrow evening it will be better. Friday would be a better travel day there. Warrenton, not going west in the morning. The snow picks up. It gets heavy towards midday. 70 eastbound over towards Vandalia. You're looking after lunchtime into the evening. If you want to go east or south and you leave early tomorrow morning, you should be able to make it and get there without much fanfare. Just don't look in your rearview mirror at Old Man Winter and the Arctic air screaming at you. Keep moving and get out. Don't go west or north. The Arctic air is still here on Saturday, but it's not quite as bad Saturday morning. Wind chills will still be well below 0, but more of an advisory instead of a warning situation. Christmas Day, we have some sunshine, clouds on the increase, mid-20s in the afternoon.
That was great to get all the driving tips, Scott.
Well, we're trying to get you in and out all in the different directions we got to go.
We love it. Thank you, Scott. We've got Corey standing by now with sports.
Well, before Mizzou and Illinois play for bragging rights tomorrow, SLU and SIUE put on a drama-filled show at Chaffetz tonight in a game that broke a 4 decades-long streak. Stick around, sports is next.
Hey, I'm PV2 Darrell Krumer. I'm from Southside St. Louis.
I'm here at 696 FSC in South Korea, and I just want to say I love you to all my family and friends back home.
In my experience, the shorter the geographic distance between two schools, the better the rivalry. See Exhibit A with bragging rights tomorrow. Tonight, SLU Hoops hosted SIUE, a team from 24 miles east who hadn't lost to the Billikens in 40 years, or who hadn't beaten the Billikens in 40 years. I think you see where I might be going with this. Collinsville native Rayshawn Taylor and the Cougars are a tough bunch this year, and this guy's tough too. Javante Perkins beats the shot clock for 3 of his season-high 23 points. That's a good sign for SLU. But SIUE hung around and came on late. That's a 3 from Lamar Wright. That got him within 1. And Taylor was the closer with the great finish to go ahead with 30 seconds left. SLU couldn't hit a buzzer beater, and for the first time since 1982, SIUE beats the Billikens. Cougars win 69-67. It's a good thing they play basketball inside, because the annual bragging rights game between Illinois and Missouri is still on as planned tomorrow night at Enterprise Center. Both teams come in riding exciting seasons so far, but with more to prove. What crowd does venture through the weather is guaranteed to be a loud one, and the winner of this game will remember the moment forever. Just ask the coach who won here last year and a guy who won 3 times as a player.
Obviously, the alumni base here in St. Louis, you know, it's an opportunity to play in front of them, but the Illini Nation is very, very passionate. They're the best fans in the country.
You know, after you win, you get to hold up the bragging rights trophy. It's a great feeling that you're able to accomplish something as a team. So that holding up that trophy after the game, that's the memory that I will always remember.
Every year, National Signing Day shows the world what kind of high school football talent St. Louis has to offer, and this year was no different, with big-time stars signing their commitments all over the area. From the City of Champions in East St. Louis and 2 stars staying close to home for the Illini, to the Notre Dame pair of DeSmet's Christian Gray and CBC's Jeremiah Love, St. Louis showed out once again with some of the best talent in the country. It's a special day for every athlete who signed, and it's often a family affair.
You know, there's no place like home. You know, it's a good place for me. If I feel like it's better for me and my family, you know, they can attend my games, you know, come out and support me, and, you know, for the next 3 or 4 years.
This is a phenomenal day. It's a real blessing of God, and I know I made my grandpa proud because this is his favorite school too, Notre Dame, and I know our recruiting class made history today too.
As usual, there are a number of local recruits who will take their talents down I-70 to Mizzou for college. From Howell's Brett Norfleet to St. Mary's Jamal Roberts to Ritter's Marvin Burks Jr., the Tigers had a strong STL class, rounded out with names like Troy's Ja'Kai Lang and Cahokia's Nick DeLoach. And these new Tigers and their new coach have big plans.
Being close to home, I got family all around that place, and just want to play for my home state.
So I'm just coming to bring a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, a lot of ooh, a lot of ah, a lot of big hits and things like that, a lot of touchdowns on defense, on offense, whatever the case may be.
I think when you look at the players that we were able to get, obviously there's a lot of really good players in the state, but it's all about finding those guys that really want to be a true son.
It was an exciting day for St. Louis City SC. The club had the first pick in the MLS Super Draft, but traded that pick for general allocation money. Then they moved back up to pick Creighton's Owen O'Malley. But the moment of today came with the first pick in the 2nd round, where City SC took former SLU Billiken and Columbia, Missouri native John Klein. Klein scored 29 goals and notched 27 assists for the Bills in college, and now he's likely going to be on St. Louis's first MLS roster. A great local story. Some sad news out of the sports world today. NFL legend Franco Harris has died. The author of the Immaculate Reception, one of the most iconic plays in the history of football, Harris and the Steelers were getting ready to celebrate the 50th anniversary of that playoff win over the Raiders just this weekend. Harris was 72 years old. If you are heading to that bragging rights game, be very careful. Both coaches, that was what they really drove home today. They want you there. They want you to support their teams, but you got to be careful if you're venturing out tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. Thank you for that, Corey. Well, people are ready to hit the slopes, but they can't strap their skis on just yet. What's keeping Hidden Valley Ski Resort from opening for the season?
Hidden Valley has given a slight update on their snowmaking progress. The general manager said they've been able to make snow on the slopes, but it's not enough to create the off-ramps for the ski lifts. The upcoming cold temperatures, that will allow for some good snowmaking through the weekend. The ski resort will announce an opening date at a later time.
Just give it some time. It'll happen.
Yeah,
right?
it will. And
Yeah.
it's going to be cold enough for sure. They'll start making snow tomorrow afternoon, and they'll keep going, right through the entire weekend. It stays below freezing. We'll get back above freezing maybe Monday afternoon, certainly on Tuesday. Snow tomorrow, just a brief period, but then it's the bitter cold and wind we deal with.
All right, Scott, thanks. That's all of our time at 10.